So if you're playing middle C up here with your thumb, what finger's going to have to play the C below middle C? You have to stretch. Yeah, you got it. That's the way to do it. Don't try and stretch. I'm David Brisley. I'm teaching piano. I call it 101A. It's more of a beginning class, and I teach the 4th through 6th grade. The first half, it's more like 40 minutes on Friday, and then the second half is for the 7th grade through 12th grade students that have an interest in learning piano.
Why do you teach this class?
I have always taught music wherever I've been working as a custodian because my goal ever since I left high school was to get my degree and teach junior high band and orchestra. That's what I've always wanted to do. And I had 7 years at CSUN working on my degree and my credential at the same time while working full-time as a night custodian. And I almost finished my degree and my credential, but Pete Wilson raised the fee so high I had to drop out and I couldn't continue. So then I started teaching music for free while working as a custodian at this school when it was called Lincoln Elementary School. That was 30 some years ago. And I taught this school for 4 years for free. And then people were interested in me teaching their school. So then I started to get paid for teaching here and at Garden Grove and at Madera Elementary School. And I did that for another 3 or 4 years. And then the district said I couldn't be a custodian and a music teacher at the same time. And so I had to choose one. And I only made $8,000, all 3 schools combined, for the year. And so I had to, of course, take my job teaching and not do it anymore and be the custodian because it paid a lot more, plus you had benefits. And then I had to switch to being a day custodian so that I could still teach in the evenings, because even though it was only $8,000, we became reliant on that extra money. So now I had to still try and teach somehow to raise money to pay the bills. So I started teaching privately, and I've done that for another 20 some years. But no matter where I was working as a custodian, I still did something with music for the kids, because my goal was to give the students, especially junior high and high school students, the love of music that they could turn to rather than doing drugs or doing whatever it is that's going to get them in trouble or possibly lead them to killing themselves or someone else or just ruining their lives. If you have music, the beautiful thing is you can take out your anger, your frustration, your emotions. You can work with that. I like to give the skills through even just knowing chords, not so much that you read music, which is what I do teach, but if I can get you to do the chords, you have sounds you can use to get your emotions out or to create something that's an original song or something that's inspiring that helps you, not that you're writing songs for other people. You can write songs for yourself that help, and that's the gift that was given to me when I was in junior high school. And that's why I wanted to do what I wanted to do. And when I came here, I learned about a little girl. Her name was Doreen. I won't give her last name. And she was one of my favorites in kindergarten when I taught music here. And I looked her up on the internet just because I was curious. You know, she was a kindergartner 29 years ago or something when I was teaching music here. She was one of my favorite little kids. She was always, Mr. Brisley, give me big hugs and everything. And she loved music. So I thought, oh, I wonder if she's doing something. So I looked her up on the internet and found out that she had died, I believe it was at age 19. They found her in a freezer off of the Santa Susana Pass Road. And she had so many needles and scars from doing drugs. It broke my heart. I asked Dr. P if I could do something a little bit more than just doing a general music class, if I could do a piano class or something, because I still want to give that gift back if I can, to keep one kid from ending up dead in a freezer on the side of the road. You know, it killed me. This girl has so much joy and potential, and then I find out this is what happened to her. And it could be just one person that could have made a difference. It could be anybody. It could be the custodian, you know, who knows? But if we're willing to do that little bit, she might be okay, you know, I don't know. But so I'm hoping that when I do this, it makes a difference, that the students get touched at something else they can do, that they see a potential. I always have that up there now about a man named John Goddard, because he inspired me when I was, when I was 14, I had a stroke. And I was paralyzed on my right side for a little under a year, almost a year. And that was brought on by drug and alcohol abuse. And I had one of those made-for-TV movies growing up where my family life wasn't the greatest. It was a mess, like most people. But my sister and I, we were kind of left to ourselves, and I wound up getting into pot and booze and having fun partying with friends and doing other things. And eventually I wound up triggering something in the left side of my brain where I had a stroke and caused paralysis. But that ended my drug abuse. That was the end of it. And I started to look at life as, wow, I lost movement. I lost the ability to walk. I lost these things. And I tried to get them back. And I remember I heard the story about John Goddard from one of my teachers. I forget who it was, but it was at San Carlos High School years ago. And he was talking about John Goddard. And if you look up this man, at 15, I believe it was, they had him, the class, it was a teacher saying, okay, class, make a list of all the things you want to do in your life. And this kid came up with a list of like 127 things. And over his whole lifetime, he's accomplished almost all of them. And we're talking explore the Nile, explore the Congo, climb Mount Whitney, climb Mount Everest, do this. I mean, amazing things. How could, at 15, you'd even know about all this stuff? And this is like back in the 60s. And it's this amazing list. And he's done almost all of that stuff. And he's written books about it. And so he is called the world's greatest goal achiever, because he would set a goal and do it. And these goals weren't simple things. And so that's the one thing I really want to give to anybody that comes to the classroom that I'm teaching is, you've got this life, you've got one. Why not push yourself to do more? Don't be satisfied. You just go home and then you get on the computer and you waste 4 hours playing Dungeons and Dragons or I tell my kids this too, because they're the same way. They like to get on the computer and game or watch videos or TikTok or whatever. That stuff's addicting. But when you find out you've wasted 5 hours of your day, there's other stuff you could be doing. Yeah, that stuff's fun. And I look at it too now and then, share stuff with my kids, funny videos and encouraging videos. But you could be making those. I mean, you could be the one that's making the $10 million a month by making these TikToks or whatever. But even beyond that, I love the fact that music is so creative. You can make songs that overnight could be a song that everybody in the world gets to know. Or you could have a song that would save somebody's life. I hear that from people. Oh, that song saved my life. It reached me. And that could be something you wrote. There's just all these potentials with music that are fantastic. And so, if nothing else, I just want to see your generation get excited about being alive today. Because earlier I was talking to one of the students about that we have something on Mars. We've got a little thing driving around on Mars, and we had a little helicopter on Mars. And we think about that, and it's like, okay, for me, for my generation, wow, that's so exciting. That's mind-blowing. But now it's old news. Now we're waiting for the next thing. Well, when are we going to colonize Mars? Look, just get to the fact that you can talk to something that's billions of miles away. I think it was last week they sent a message to Voyager or something like that that's billions of miles away, and it sent a message back, which is just like, well, wouldn't that take like 20 years to hear the message back because it travels? I just don't get that stuff. It warps my brain. But yeah, get excited about life, being alive, and the things that you can do. And don't turn to drugs. Don't turn to the crap. Don't turn. Just focus on the good stuff that you can do, and the stuff you're frustrated with, find a way of dealing with it. Write about it. Play music. Sports. Sports is great. You get it all out, and you have teammates that are with you. And like I've told some of the kids here, because some of the kids here struggle really badly with depression. It's like, we're here. I'm here. Your teachers are here. Dr. P is here. And we all love you. And we want to help. If there's anything we can do to help, we want to be there to help. So that's the reason I'm doing this, is if I can just help one kid stay off of drugs or stay out of trouble or get excited about being alive or become something later on. I taught for years and have had a lot of fun seeing, like one of my students, years later, he became a guitarist with some bands that are really popular. And to me, seeing this little kid who was just learning about music up on stage, jamming on guitar, I mean, that's mind-blowing. I love that. So that's another reason that I enjoy doing this, is seeing the fruits of the labor. You know, not that it was just me. You know, it's always other people that work in your lives. But it's got to start somewhere with somebody that can say, look, life is exciting, it's beautiful, it's amazing. You've got someplace that you're going to get to. Well, why not try and set that goal and then try and arrive where you want to be instead of just let life sweep you along. Every day you wake up and you go to school. I got to get through school. I got to get through today. I wonder what's on TV. Oh, yeah, I'm going to watch that, you know, or what friend you're going to talk to or hang with, getting homework done, you know, all that stuff. It's all important. But what's your goal? If you could do something every day to try and reach a long-term goal, why not do it? Especially now that there's homeschool, like what we have here. You've got time. If I had this as a kid, oh my gosh, I could practice for hours a day. I could write for hours. I love to write, not just music, but not really poetry, but just expression, you know, getting thoughts out and whatnot. But you've got time. Time's your greatest gift. But that's if you do something with it. And so that's one of the things I really love to see, is when the students start to just go for it.
Well, would you say music has saved you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, in coming out of my stroke, when I started to be able to move again, it became this kind of quest. I'm going to learn how to do everything I can do with my hands because I have my hands back. Mm-hmm. So I was really heavy into doing magic tricks. And me and my friend Greg, we actually started a business called Illusions Unlimited, and we did birthday parties and all that kind of stuff. And I learned all kinds of sleight of hand tricks and got into that. I learned how to crochet, learned how to tat. I do calligraphy, not very well, but I try. I like to paint. I like to play all these different instruments. And, you know, I still have the hope of going back and actually teaching junior high at some point in time. But now, you know, it's way down the road. I'll be an old, okay, students, take out your instruments. It's going to be something like that, I know. Let me wheel over there and see what you're doing.
But you've been playing like pretty much your whole life?
No.
Really?
I was self-taught on piano because I saw 101 Dalmatians when I was a kid. And that was the movie that basically changed my life, because I saw music as, wow, this is amazing. Especially when you hear, Roger comes out and he starts going, that song made me laugh my head off, and I was like 5 or 6, and I don't remember laughing like that before, ever. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow, this is so fun, it's so amazing. And then he pulls out the trombone and the trumpet, and I'm like, I want to do that. I got to do that. And even though I was that young, that's how music became a part of me, was through 101 Dalmatians. Mm-hmm. You never know what's going to change your life. And then a little while after, I saw Fantasia, and it cemented music. Fantasia was mind-blowing for me. Seeing it in the theater was just like, wow. And then I try and have my kids watch it. They didn't last, I think, more than 5 minutes because it was boring to them, you know, yeah. But the combination of animation with the classical music was just so powerful to me. And so that cemented my love of music. And then playing in beginning band in junior high, I had a wonderful teacher named Larry Elginer, and that's the guy that made me want to do the junior high band teaching thing, because he came to my house after my parents were divorcing. And he's the one that said, look, you got to turn to the trumpet and get it out. You know, whatever you want to do, here's some books. He gave me a Herb Albert book and another book, and encouraged me to use my trumpet skills to get my emotions out.
It's a good coping mechanism.
Exactly. And that helped me like nothing else. That was a mainstay that turned me really on to music for myself, rather than it just being music. You know, it was fun and everything, but then I became to where I could own it. You know, I could write it. I could create my own music. But unfortunately, the strong, popular use of drugs where I was overcame all of that, and I became a stoner and even a part-time dealer for a while at 12. And then by the time I was 14, it was all over for me. I would have died if I didn't have my stroke. I know I would have. And then music was what helped. You know, I have a lot of faith in God. God has really watched over me, and I believe God's healed me and then has goals for all of us. He has work for all of us to do. And that's my real strength, is that I rely on Christ to get me through anything, because that's what he does. And he wants to use us. And he wants us to love others as he loves us. Well, he loves us a whole lot more than most of us love each other. And so that's another reason why I do this.
Well, thank you.
Uh-huh.
That was perfect.